Hello, my name is Mantis, and welcome to a video. I normally don't do videos, but I can't stream right now because I am beyond tired. I've been working on this plugin. I want to say I started around lunchtime yesterday, and then I just kept working until like 1 a.m. something, or no, 3 a.m. actually. It was like 3 a.m. on the dot that I stopped working on it. And then I don't know, I laid down, I tried to sleep, but it was pretty late already. So I ended up staying up till like 6 a.m. and then people were getting up and yelling in the house, so that I was not about to go back to sleep during that. So I just got up and ate because I was starving, and then here I am hours later. So yeah, I've been working on it since then as well, since like this morning. And I finally think I got it to a good spot. So I actually, oh gosh, I could show you the code, but it's quite a mess to be honest. So uh, first off, we have um, these are our packets, our fake block break packet and our fake block update packet. This one did not get changed at all. This one stays the same. This packet only prevents the fake block from disappearing when you right click it. It doesn't do anything else. So that's the only reason this packet is here, and it's the only reason we're listening to this packet and canceling it from being sent. Um, if it's a fake block, they interact with, of course. Uh, next, oh gosh, I had to do like I had oh yeah, okay. Why don't I just show you where it's at right now in game, and then I'll try to explain it as we go along. So I think it's at a pretty good spot. So the server is starting up, and we'll get there in a second. There we go. Okay, so this is the mine world. This is what it looks like. It's nothing, right? It's a void world. That's what it's supposed to be. I purposely put this bedrock here so that way we have a real block to spawn on in case something happens with your fake mine and it doesn't load or something. But first off, we got I'm gonna go to spawn first to show you how it loads with the chunks that you load in. So we go mine create. Let's do standard, and it teleports me there. And here we are. This is the mine. This inner bedrock and that stone was not actually part of it. Not part of the schematic. And that is another thing I did. So if you remember, if this was on stream, we had this teleport to mine method that this command uses. Um, so basically what it does is it gets the schematic, it gets the paste data from the schematic to paste it at this location, which is currently the spawn, and it pastes relative, of course, to where you copied the schematic or saved the schematic from where you're standing. So it's important to note. And then I call mine manager. I made this function called refill mines, and it takes in the mine type and the map here of blocks. So what it does is it takes the max amount of times this mine can expand into account. It takes in the two corners. These two corners are the minimum or the starting size, and then these are also the starting size, but in it's ordered. So this is the minimum location, and this is the maximum location. And I just made some simple helper functions here for my simple block pose. All it does is return a new simple block pose with minimum or maximum X, Y, and Z for each one. So it kind of reorganizes them a little bit so they're not the same. They're actually different. It's the minimum of each coordinate or the maximum of each coordinate, not just which one's higher or whatever. So then we have the minimum and maximum expanded, and all that is I added more helper functions here to return a new simple block pose, but with these added or subtracted to the coordinates I pass in, or these coordinates. So the minimum is a simple block pose, so it does dot subtract, and it subtracts the max expansion from x, it subtracts 0 from y, and then it subtracts the max expansion from z. And same thing for the max expanded, it just adds it instead. So then we loop through the blocks we passed in. We say, is this in the mine region? So we get the pose, and we check if it's in the minimum and maximum mine region from the expanded, right? And if it is, then we set it to unbreakable, so you can't break them. But then we loop through the minimum expanded to the maximum expanded. I made a helper function for that. So it loops from these coordinates to these coordinates, and it has a block pose for each one. So we check if this block is in the minimum and maximum region, then we put stone. Otherwise, we put bedrock, and that's how you have the, let me go flight. That's how you have the stone here. This is the starting size, and then this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the max expansions. This is bedrock. So when you expand it later, this will eventually be stone. And that's what this function here does, or this loop here does. And that's all this function does, is it populates your paste data with the mine filled out, and then it sends it to the player instead of doing it separately, which would be more work. And then of course we teleport them to the world spawn, which is where their schematic should be at, or their mine should be at. And then of course, I have it. So now that I've created a mine, I can relog, and I have it teleport me back to the center, and it will also load my mine, of course. And that's just a simple join listener here. It's basically doing the same thing as the mine command, except in the join listener, and it uses the queue, not any send block change or anything. Also, I did a custom fake block handler send fake blocks, or send block change, because send block change, I don't know if you notice, but if you look under the hood of send block change or send multi-block change, it's actually just sending one of two packets. So send block change sends the it's like a block update packet, and then send multi-block change sends a section update packet. And that, let me find them. It's in NMS stuff here. Fake block handler, here we go. So I just I basically remade them exactly how paper has them. But using my own method to send the finished packet. So like send block change, all it does is it constructs a client-bound block update packet with the block change, and then it sends it to the player to their handle. So, but there was a problem with that because my packet listener, if it can cancel, like it's listening for that packet. My big block update packet is listening for this packet specifically. So, and I cancel it if it's a fake block. So if we're sending a block change to a block that's already considered fake by the block handler, because we have a map of fake blocks, then it'll cancel. So I just made my own of it, and I added my own send packet, and I added a bypass listeners. So if it's canceled, or if I have a listener that's canceling it, and I want to send that packet, then I can bypass that listener, and it won't be affected by it. That's why I had to do that. And then same thing with send multi-block change. This is exactly how they do it in Paper API, except of course I'm sending the finished client-bound section blocks update packet. I'm sending it in my own method rather than just to the player's handler or client or connection or whatever, to bypass the listeners. So there's that. I had to do that in case anything would break. But it turns out I don't think that was the problem anyways. What I was encountering was I was able to break these blocks that aren't they're meant sorry, that they're marked as unbreakable, right? I was able to break them, and then I would have to right click it, right? So I would break it, and then it was air, and I would right click the air, and it would go back to that, and I was whoops, and that is not a good look, or it's not what you want. But this is what you want, right? You break it, and it just immediately reappears. There's no, there's no it's just like a real block. Like if you don't have permission to break a block in Spawn, for example, it just acts just the same way. It doesn't give you the blocks either, as opposed to the stone here. I can actually grab the stone, and if I have insta break, I can also grab the stone with insta break, and that is important because you actually have to hard code that to support both insta-break and non-insta-break. So this was my old big block break. It was basically had everything done already, but it didn't work with the unbreakable block. Like as I was just explaining. So I had to redo it, and that's what actually fixed it. So in my opinion, I think it's a little bit simpler or more simple than what I had before. It's just simply, checking if we're only listening for start or stop. That's what this set is checking. It's just an easier way to check than checking both. And then we get the block pose from the packet. We get the simple block pose from the block pose. For later utility like this one, get fake block. So if it's null, then we return. We don't want to handle mining any real blocks, so we're just going to return right there immediately. And then we actually get the real block because we need that for the block state right here. We get the block state from the block because it's already placed. If I was to create a block state from the or if I was to create block data, or let me just go back down here and show you. Right here, I have to pass in the block state to get the drops from the block. But this method would throw an error or a warning, and it wouldn't do anything if this block state wasn't actually placed. So what I have to do to get around that is simply get the block state from the real block and then set that block state to my fake material. And that doesn't actually affect the block either. So, and if I wanted to, I can get the real block state again just by calling block.getState, but I don't think I need it. At least, yeah, right here. Real block state, block.getState. So yeah, it doesn't affect the actual block. It just takes this block state from the block and changes the type. It doesn't do anything else. And then, of course, we have to check if we're in creative mode. Basically, it does work. If I'm in creative, I can still mine stuff. I can mine unbreakable stuff. I can mine the bedrock. I can mine the stone. I don't get the stone because I'm in creative mode, right? So I might have to change this. But I don't. I think I'm just gonna not handle it all. You shouldn't be giving people creative mode if they're not supposed to have it, anyways. And there we see my teleport regenerates the blocks. I don't think lighting really works very well because they're fake blocks. But if you teleport and it's a send block change, then the lighting does work that way, but not through the chunk loading. I'm rambling, but I just wanted to showcase. I finally got it working, and it works pretty good. Of course, this is like a real prison server right here. This is exactly what and then I guess next on my agenda is I need to get some database or something, or make an expand command at least to store the player's mine type. We're already storing the mine type that they have in a map. I just need to, whenever we make a database, I need to transfer it to the database instead. But now we can just store the current expanded level and just do that, and then we can refill with we can create a mine expand command. I think I might do that on stream whenever I stream next time. But yeah, everything seems to work pretty good. I I really need to clean this stuff up though, because this is not in the version thing. I think I might end up moving these to this, because right now it's just in like any plain old module. But that was supposed to be like that, so I wouldn't have to recode everything, just the methods that required NMS, which there is not really anything in here that requires NMS except for block pose. This one is technically net Minecraft core. It's not NMS, but it's still net.minecraft.core, you know. And then of course this packet is also from net Minecraft network. So I don't know. I might have to change that. But other than that, that's the only stuff that's actually NMS dependent in this packet. The chunk loading packet is probably a different story, because there's a lot. There is so much in this. Yeah, you could see. I had to end up but here's how it works, right? At the start of my last stream, I thought I had it working, because what I did was I took the chunks, the actual level chunk, and I just set block states in it. But what that actually does is actually sets the blocks for the server to those blocks, and that is kind of defeating the whole purpose of fake blocks. And then I would send them back to the original, obviously. But sometimes that would glitch out, and the fake blocks would remain as real blocks, and that's just not good at all. So what I had to do is literally decode it pretty much. I had to decrypt this buffer, the chunk packet data. I have this. I made this IO friendly byte buff just to have an input and output in one little object. It's nothing really. It's literally just two friendly byte buffs, but you know, automatically creates the output from the input and the input from the original. That type of stuff. And it's important to get this stuff right, because if you're off by a little bit, then it messes up. Because of course, you know, we're going off the protocol page on the Minecraft wiki. So yeah, so we get the read buffer in there, and it's creating the input from the read buffer. So basically, we're reading through this read buffer here. So we have to read the amount of non-air blocks first. So of course, we're looping through the chunk sections, and a chunk in this void world, which is the vanilla height limit, is 24. There's like 24 sections, I think. I know it starts at -4, so I don't know entirely. But we have to loop through them regardless, and then we had to, you know, we had to read this first short and do nothing with it, which is just the amount of non-air blocks in the section. Because we don't need that, because we're going to modify it anyways. And I had to do this read. Then after we read the amount of blocks, there's a palleted container for the block states in the chunk section. So now we have to go there and we have to read through, which, by the way, is quite a lot of stuff here. You know, it's a lot of reading and making sure that you're at the right index in the right spot. And of course, writing is a whole other story as well. It's basically the same thing, except you have to write it back to the new buffer in the same order that you read it from, or read it in. So that's a whole more stuff. There's a lot of bit masking and shifting going on, and packing and stuff. So it's pretty complicated. It took me a while to get this working, but I'm really glad that I did. And also, you have to write height maps and stuff, which is just there's height maps from in the chunk packet data or whatever, and then writing the chunk data to finally writing the chunk data to the buffer. And not only that, you have to write once you write it to that, you have to make this new packet buffer, which is a registry friendly one. Chunk bytes, So yeah, these new chunk bytes are the ones that we've been writing into the output for. And then we put it into a byte array. We get the bytes from the output starting at index 0, and we put it into the new chunk bytes byte array. And of course, create that, and then we have to write all this stuff. We have to reconstruct the packet, not just the chunk data, but the whole packet. So we have to write the chunk X coordinate, chunk Z coordinate, and then you have to write the chunk data, and then you have to write the light data. And then finally you have to reset the reader index, of course, and then you can finally create the new packet, which, by the way, you have to do through reflection, because the constructor that you have to use in order to pass in the registry-friendly byte buff is private, so you have to do reflection in order to access it. Of course, that is talking about this constructor here. Basically, what it is it's taking it's reconstructing a packet from the information in the buffer, and of course, right. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's reconstructing the packet based on the buffer. So it has to read, the chunk X, chunk Z, has to read the chunk data and has to read the light data. So that's basically just, looking through it, structuring it properly, and then you're good to go. But of course, there's a lot to it. Of course, you can pause and look through, but really I don't even know. It's hard to explain. You got to look at the Minecraft wiki protocol page and all that. But really, I was just here to showcase my progress, because I'm not going to stream it yet, because I am very tired. I feel like if I was going to stream and continue working on a plugin, I would just be writing nonsense. But yeah, finally making progress. I just need to get the mines to be able to dynamically expand with an expand command. We need to add, and then after that, there's a lot more to do for this plugin, like currencies, ranks, enchants for the Omni tool, gangs and stuff. Just a whole bunch of stuff. So this is going to be a big project, even more so than it already has been. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the showcase. And if you're interested in my project, be sure to tune into my live streams. You can join my Discord. It's in the description. I ping whenever I go live. You can subscribe. You can turn on notifications to get notified when I go live as well. And if you want to see any of my past streams, they're all in my live tab on my YouTube channel. So, yeah. And see you in the next stream. Hopefully it won't be too long till then.